And we're on. Okay, my name is Andrew Holliday,
And I'm Corey Evans.
and this is Comedically Correct. So today's episode, we're going to discuss Simone Biles, some jokes said by comedians, and what was the other story that we were going to cover?
Jeopardy. There's a weird
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy story where
Oh,
people
okay,
keep.
yeah, no, okay. That's actually something that I've talked about before, and I want to get in on that a little bit.
Okay.
Jeopardy. Jeopardy is my jam. Jeopardy is like the only reason that you can consider a person like me smart is useless trivia.
Me and my girlfriend played Drunk Jeopardy a lot.
Oh yeah?
Which, yeah, depending on the day, it just depends on like how you're feeling. But either when you get a question right, you take a drink, or when you get a question wrong, you take a drink. It depends on like the day. I like playing
Uh,
if you get a question right, you take a drink because I like playing that drinks are rewards. A lot of drinking games, drinking is a punishment, and I don't get that because if you're playing a drinking game, you like to drink.
yeah, like you want to get plastered. Like early in the night drinking games, and then there's late in the night drinking games where you're like, I don't need any more of this stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're adults now. That was the biggest thing in college. Like, I wish someone would have came up to me in college and be like, "You understand? You actually don't have to drink beer because someone made a ping pong ball in a cup, right? Like, you're a grown man, and
Yeah,
that's you don't have to do that."
you have autonomy, but at the same time, you're like, I don't want to not drink it. And
Yeah, it's just insane to me how many people have to be told that. To where it's like, I was trying to help. This one dude wanted me to help him build a weird D&D game that he plays with his friends, but it's like a lot of like it's almost like strip D&D. And he's a good dude. And he was like, my biggest thing is like it seems creepy, and like I don't want it to be creepy. I want it to be like used with good friends. And he's trying to build this and sell it. And he decided the best thing to do is to add a disclaimer in the rules that says if you don't want to take off a piece of clothing, you don't have to, which is like good, but it's like you shouldn't have to tell an adult that. Like if someone's like, I rolled a 7, take off your shirt, and I don't want to, I'll be like, no. But it's
yeah,
weird how many 45-year-olds don't understand they have the ability to do that in certain situations.
yeah, I'm actually surprised like how many people like just do what other people say. Like when I caught
Uh-huh.
shoplifters, you'd be surprised how many people just come with you. You have no legal obligation. Like other than like if you're still holding the stuff, they can grab you if you're holding their stuff. But yeah, if you just drop the stuff, you can just roll out.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do.
No, yeah, like cops can arrest you. Like cops can do shit, but like regular but like
Andrew
you know how many people?
Holidays cannot.
Yeah, you know how many people like I just kind of like implied I could grab them, and they're like, all right, and then
Yeah.
like I would stick my hand out like I was like about to grab them, like, and then like they'll be like, all right, well, let's not let this stuff get crazy. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, people are stupid.
yeah,
Let's start with Jeopardy since we're talking about Jeopardy.
yeah. So anyway, I had always wondered this when I was a kid because it annoyed me when people are like, "What is garbage? What is?" And I was like, "You're dumb. Like it's making like the smartest people in the world sound stupid. What is air? What is Amelia Earhart? Like that doesn't even make sense. Like Amelia Earhart's a noun. You
Yeah.
don't say what is, but so it always annoyed me. But it turns out that you don't have to say what is. You just have to put it in a form of a question. It doesn't matter how the form is.
Yeah, and so I guess this guy, people were getting upset because he used what is for everything.
No, he used what's.
Oh, what's? So
Yeah,
he'd say, what's Amelia Earhart? And people were getting upset because it should be who's Amelia Earhart or who
yeah,
is Amelia Earhart.
yeah. And then or what is Amelia Earhart and stuff like that. And yeah, so people were getting upset with him, and it was apparently no rule against it. You just say whatever.
Yeah, as long as it's in the form of a question. I really want to know if you had your inflection
Yeah,
like Amelia Earhart. Like,
I'm
does
Ron
that count?
Burgundy. Yeah,
I think that's sad. I think it's sad that people care enough about Jeopardy that they like wrote into the show to complain about how someone's answering a question.
I think it's weird the type of things that upset the masses.
Yeah. Well, especially like I forget that there are people that like our hobby is comedy. Like that's what we
Yeah.
spend a lot of our time doing. There are people whose hobby is Jeopardy. Like that's what they spend a lot of time doing. The same way, like we look forward to. I know I have an open mic on Wednesday, and it's something I look forward to every week. They do the same thing with Jeopardy with the same vigilance.
Yeah.
It kind of
Yeah.
bums me out for them.
Yeah. Like I know people that they're like, it's Jeopardy, and then they just won't talk to you anymore.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I like Jeopardy fine. Like I'll sit down and watch it. But somebody on my Facebook posted, "Oh my God, Jeopardy's on Netflix. I'm about to die. See you next week." And I was like,
Wait, holy shit! What do they mean? Jeopardy's on Netflix? I'm sorry, I'm about to be the person you don't like.
"Jeopardy's
But
on
like,
Netflix."
do they mean like all of it's on
I
Netflix?
think there's no way they could possibly put every episode of Jeopardy on Netflix. The servers aren't that big yet. But I think there's quite a few episodes of Jeopardy on Netflix.
Yeah, but they usually have like one season. You can't buy Jeopardy. Like this really is like it's a date night for me and my girlfriend. We'll watch like 4 or 5 episodes of Jeopardy, and it's something we really like and look forward to. Uh, but it's hard to find. Like you can't buy seasons of Jeopardy.
Huh. I didn't know that. I do know that Netflix did have some Jeopardy on it because I remember seeing it on there, and then like my buddy posted on Facebook, and I was like, dude, what's your problem? Like, you can watch Game of Thrones on HBO Go any day of the week, and you're watching Jeopardy.
If you know what, I feel like you're attacking me right now.
I
So I'm
like Jeopardy. It's
trying
just
to deflect.
I like Jeopardy, but like Jeopardy is like one of those things where if it's on during the daytime, I'll watch that over Ricky Lake. Shoot, I just dated myself. Um, I'll watch that over Spring. Springer's still on, right? Is
I
that
know. I don't think Springer's still on.
is Murray still on?
Murray's still on.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like I'll watch Jeopardy over Murray or whatever. Like if it's on during the day. Like I enjoy Jeopardy just fine. But then like you have Jeopardy on streaming when like you're putting that up against Raised by Wolves,
Uh,
freaking Stranger Things. Uh,
Great show.
you can watch The Sopranos. You can watch every episode of The Sopranos right
But
now.
are you watching new shit all the time?
Yeah, usually.
See, I almost never watch new stuff. Like that takes brain energy for me.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to watch a TV show I've seen 1,000 times and just shut my brain off.
I do that when I'm trying to sleep.
No, I do that like when I get home from work. It's like I will put on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and I could almost quote the episode to you, but this does not take brain power for me.
Yeah, I'm like that with Community.
I love Community. Such a good show.
Love Community. I even like the later seasons when they lost Donald Glover. I even like the gas leak season, even though.
Yeah, no, I like that season. I liked all the seasons until they went to Yahoo. I didn't like the Yahoo season, but someone told me to give it another shot.
Yeah, I actually recommend giving it another shot because Paget Brewster comes in and like everybody's like, oh, who's Paget Brewster replacing? She is like Annie, but like on Adderall, and like she's like Annie and Abed like
Yeah.
put together in one character, and it's played by Paget Brewster from Criminal Minds. And she was actually in this is a joke that I had just realized, and then somebody realized it on TikTok like right afterwards. But so a previous episode, Paget Brewster guest starred just as like a quick little cameo as the IT lady, and then she came in as a different character. When she's one of my favorite characters in the show, just for her one season of work there. And she's like, I was trying to get a hold of the IT lady, which is her. And she's like, I'm only getting, every time I call her, I just get static. And every one of my emails gets bounced back to me in Arabic. Like, and I didn't get the joke. I just thought like, oh, that's silly. And then like later on, I was like, she's the IT lady.
Yeah, Community's really good at like deep jokes.
Oh yeah.
I do. I want to apologize to everyone just because I am teaching a comedy workshop in Lubbock today, and so I'm making a 6 o'clock getaway. So I do feel like we should jump into some Simone Biles. I have a lot of thoughts about Simone Biles.
I do too. I just want to say, weren't we talking about comedy workshops before, and like how you like can't like teach comedy?
Nah, I definitely did not say that.
I
Because that's a lot of comics think you can't teach comedy. I definitely don't think you can teach someone to be Dave Chappelle.
oh yeah,
But
no.
like I definitely think you can teach like the basics of comedy. The thing I hated, and like this is free, so I'm doing this for free. The thing I've always hated about comedy classes is a lot of people will pitch comedy classes as like, hey, you spend like in Chicago, like there are comedy classes that cost like $2,000. And they pitch like, hey, you paid for this $2,000, and then when you're done, you're basically on the fast track to be rich and famous.
Yeah, it's like, hey, start here. Today you're you. Tomorrow you're Bill Burr.
Yeah.
2 days
And
you're gonna
so
be like Richard Pryor and Dave Chappelle had a love child, and that is you.
see, I hate that. So like I'm not against comedy classes. I'm against false advertisement of like you take this comedy class and you're going to be someone special, which is just not true. And then I don't even like comedy classes telling them that they're going to make you funny. That's one of the first things I wrote down. My first thing that I'm going to say is disclaimer. One, I'm not a professional comic, but two, this is not going to make you funny. Like, it's just not. Like, it will get you. My goal is to get people who might want to do stand-up comedy, but there's a lot of shit they don't know, like how to sign up for it, where to go, what the light means, a whole bunch of shit like that, that like I'm going to be like, here are the basics. Here's like some ways you can come up with ideas for what might be funny.
Uh,
And like, here are 3 basic joke structures.
I should send you the video that Brad Williams sent me because he gave me all this advice on comedy, and I was very happy to get the video. I very much appreciate it. If Brad Williams, if you're one of our 13 watchers, I appreciate it. That being said, I was very sad because I was like, because he was telling me about like, he's like, just write 3 minutes of comedy. Once you get that 3 minutes good, you want to refine it and just don't even. And then like, so he was telling me all the stuff like that was like for like comedians starting out, and I was like, I mean, like I'm more than just like a comedian starting out. I'm like, again, not like Dave Chappelle, but I'm more than like, you know.
Yeah, the thing I'm doing is targeted specifically towards its introduction to comedy. But yeah, I get that. And then like it's also at some point it goes back to the like not taking off your clothes if you don't want to thing. Is comedy classes need to be better at like, here's my advice that I've learned. I might be wrong. Like I'm gonna be like, I'm a school teacher. Like
Yeah.
I don't have it figured out, obviously, or I would not be a school teacher. If I had it figured, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Hold on a sec. Let me see if it's mine or yours. It came back. I think I'm good.
I got you freezing on now.
Oh, I'm freezing on you? Hold on a sec. Let me
Let's see. I'm doing my internet speed test.
For those of you guys at home, hope I'll probably edit this out, but if I don't, I apologize. Talking about comedy classes, and we're going to talk about Simone Biles for sure in a second.
Okay.
I promise.
Should we do like a hard restart and be like, Simone Biles now? Like, so you can cut it easier?
Yeah, we'll do that.
424 megabytes per second, so it's got to be on your end, man.
Oh, okay, I just connected my hotspot.
Cool.
My hotspot should be good right now.
You don't pay any money for a comedy class, but definitely don't pay over $200 for a comedy class. They're not going to teach you that much. They are helpful if they're free. I really believe that. But like going on stage 10 times for free is going to be more helpful to you than taking a comedy class.
Yeah. And the other thing is like one of the most important things about comedy is figuring out who you are on stage, not, what somebody like tells you. Like, but don't get me wrong. Like the only people that can give you advice on like stand up are like stand up comedians. Like every now and then your mom might say something accidentally right, but still.
Yeah, you will get a lot of advice from non-stand-up comedians, and it's usually like, just say the stuff your brother says. He's so dumb, people will laugh.
Yeah.
That's my whole family wants me to do jokes called Kyleisms, which is shit my older brother says. I'm just like, no one's gonna think Kyle wanting to shoot a man is funny. That's just, they're gonna think that's sad.
I don't know, maybe it says something about me that like I think it's funny.
He did once. My brother's much more redneck than me, and I went with him to buy a new handgun. And he bought this handgun, and then he took it out as we were walking to my car in the parking lot, and he just like looked at it like a baby. And he was like, "This is the kind of gun that makes you hope someone breaks into your house." And I was like, Jesus Christ, like these should be illegal. This shouldn't be allowed.
Like somebody should be like, nope, yoink. You're one of them that doesn't get it.
Yeah, instantly it should be like
like here's my thing on the gun debate is like I think that people should be allowed to own guns, but every now and then I'm like, but not you.
I definitely think people should be allowed to own guns. I like guns, honestly.
I do too.
But there is like something to where it's like how big is your smile while you're buying it?
Yeah, it's like, hey, like, do you have to wear like tight pants because your boner's too big? I'm sorry. It's like, all right. But yeah, like I'm okay with guns. I'm not okay with everybody that owns a gun.
For sure. And then like I really am, and I know a lot of people are not going to like this. You don't need that many ARs. Like I was trying to my friend and my brother it was my best friend growing up. Him and my brother are closer now because they're just gun nuts. And he was showing me like his 15 guns. And I was like, dude, there's you. There's your wife. There's your 10-year-old son and your 5-year-old daughter. Like, even if all of y'all are double fisting guns, you still have like 12 guns left over. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
It's like Corey says this now, and then in the zombie apocalypse, he's going to look so dumb.
No, I'm not going to look dumb because even if there's a zombie apocalypse, if you have 15 guns and 8 hands, there's nothing you can do with those other 7 guns.
You can trade the other guns for goats. Guns are going to be... Yeah, for goats.
Okay, yeah, the guns. Okay, you're talking about using guns as currency. I was only thinking about them in a defensive capacity.
Yeah, I mean, like, guns are super effective. If there's a light breeze and your papers are blowing away, gun.
So you think guns and goats are going to be about worth the same amount on the market? It's like, here's a shotgun.
No, I think guns are going to be way less valuable than goats. You can eat a goat.
You can milk a goat. Like, I mean, goats are a lot.
Goats can be your friend, can be your girlfriend. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of different purposes for goats.
I guess if you're into, I mean, like if there's a zombie apocalypse, no one's gonna be like really that concerned with bestiality.
Yeah, like, the dead are coming back. Like we're not gonna talk about Kyle today.
Yeah, like literally, if a zombie apocalypse is happening and I walk by someone having sex with their goat, I'm gonna be like, ew, gross. But like, I'm not gonna tell them to stop it. It's like, you do you, man.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? There's not a lot to smile about today. So anyway, Simone Biles finally.
Okay, right. Simone Biles. Speaking of the goat, Simone Biles. Oh, good train.
Yeah. Hey. Anyway, Simone Biles, one of the most decorated female Olympian gymnast of all time. One of the most decorated Olympians of all time.
I think she's just the most decorated female gymnast, which sounds really weird, but there are gymnasts who have more Olympic medals than her. But like when you go like Olympic and world championship medals, she blows everyone out of the water.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure someone's going to be like, well, technically, this Russian chick has 9. So
Yeah.
I'm getting out
And
ahead of it.
yeah, and I don't even know if Russia is still a country in the Olympics. Technically, I think it's like
Probably not.
people that go to Russia. Anyway, so horrible PR. By the way, let me just say right there. I think that there's like a lot of confusion about what happened with the Simone Biles thing, and I think that there's like a lot of opinions that are frustrated
Uh-huh.
with it. And I think that so first off, they said that there was a leg injury. So okay, so she got the twisties, right?
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
And I've never heard of that before. That sounded like something that was made up.
It's such a sweet, silly name, and it is actually very dangerous, but I'd never heard of it before either.
Yeah, but I guess it's like a mix of like vertigo and anxiety, something like that.
It's like, yeah, it's from what I understand, me and Andrew both heard of this very
Recently,
recently. But from what I understand, basically what the twisties is when you are doing gymnastics and you're dismounting, and you have to really watch Olympic gymnastics to understand this. This is like someone backflipping 2 or 3 times in the air and twisting like a full body rotation twice in the air. Like these
yeah,
are not like your little kids gymnastics. These are the best gymnasts in the world. And basically what can happen is you get disoriented, and at that point, like you don't twist enough or you don't flip enough. And so like Simone Biles went up, said she got the twisties, did not, she was supposed to do another full rotation, did not, and was like, and then landed on her knees instead of her feet. And basically the way that they explain it, from what I understand, is when you're up there and you're twisting and you're upside down, like it's kind of like you get disoriented, you get a little bit of vertigo, and you stop controlling your body at that point. And so like you're telling your body to twist, but it's not. And then like the thing that's very dangerous about that is, one, it's dangerous in general, but after that happens, it's very terrifying, I'm
yeah,
sure. And then it kind of like gymnastics is supposed to be kind of, you step out of your mind and you let your training and body take over, but like that has now failed you, and the anxiety can be very dangerous because you're thinking too much when you're doing it. Does that sound about right?
that's actually a better explanation than I heard. But yeah, that sounds about right. So I have 2 problems with the story. I understand some of the frustration from fans and stuff like that. Like when you want to see the best athlete perform, you want like, and that's what you're there for. I understand that frustration, but and the PR about it was really bad because they started off with saying there was a leg injury, and then they said that she just wasn't having fun, and that's I think what made
Ew.
people mad. It was like, oh, you're not having fun?
I did not hear anything about not having fun. That is terrible PR.
Yeah. And then the first time I heard she had the twisties, I seriously thought it was a joke.
Yeah, that sounds like a joke.
But I was like, well, she just had a case of the twisties. Like,
Yeah, that sounds like some dude who's commentating and like trying to make fun of her. It's like, poor baby had a case of the twisties. I did not know it
yeah,
was a real thing, but it's a real thing with gymnasts.
yeah. So, well, and it's actually kind of funny, like hearing people with like very like deep professional voices say, and Simone Biles had a case of the twisties, and you're like,
I'm
it just sounds goofier. Oh, you're not
I'm
hearing
getting
me?
like, you sound like a robot. You're cutting out a whole lot.
Sorry, hold on.
No, you're fine.
My internet should be good right now. All right, but yeah, it. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, you're perfect now.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the audio in this episode. I'm gonna try to clean it up in post. Anyway, so knowing that now, and like if we knew at the beginning like things were gonna go that way, yeah, I understand where she's coming from. But like the original thing, like when you see like an athlete at the top level who just, I didn't feel like it. Like that's kind of what I think a lot of people thought initially. And I think that's where a lot of the upsetness came from, is when she's like, well, I'm not having fun right now. That's what they thought was happening.
Sure, but I think that's a stupid thought. Like, you don't become the best at what you do by not having a competitive mindset. Like, no matter, like, anyone at the top of a sports world, like, is not going to not compete on the biggest stage in the world because they don't feel like it, unless something is seriously wrong.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I mean, even the more I read about it with Simone Biles, the more I was like, oh yeah, this makes even more sense. But honestly, Simone Biles being the best gymnast in the world, if she came out and she went, I can't do it right now and I can't explain why, to me, I'd go, that's perfectly okay. Because, like, for someone with that kind of competitive attitude to say, you know what, I'm going to step down from the biggest stage in the world, from something that I've dominated for a long time, and I'm not going to compete. I think she has built a reputation. She has spent years of her life building this to go, like, you know what, something's fucked up.
Yeah.
Simone Biles says that she's not going to do it. Something fucked up real bad.
Yeah, and the thing is with gymnasts,
So
their prime is only like 5 minutes. So I don't think that I doubt that it was like, I'm not having fun. Like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I don't think it was that. But
yeah, and like, you also there's also a lot of abuse with gymnasts. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, like, there was the very famous, there was the famous, or I'd rather say infamous, like, sex scandal, molestation scandal. I don't know what to call it. It's very sad. I'm not trying to fucking cheapen it.
yeah. Larry Nassar, huge piece of
Yeah,
crap.
and I mean, just like hundreds of girls that he was molesting and sexually abusing.
Yeah,
But, like,
and
not that, like,
and those girls still made it to the Olympics and managed to, like, imagine all that shit going on and still making it.
yeah, and I mean, Simone Biles was one of those girls. Like, I mean, I'm not giving anyone excuses, but I'm saying, with the history that we know of abuse in gymnastics, like, Simone Biles is very mentally tough. She is not someone who gets a little sad and opts out of the Olympics. Like, she is one of the greatest athletes of our generation. Like, and like, you could argue, like, the greatest athlete of our generation. So I agree. There's
That's
bad
Joey
PR
Chestnut.
there.
Shut up, Joey Chestnut, all the way.
I don't know who the fuck Joey Chestnut is.
The world hot dog eating champion.
Okay, well, second, he's clearly first. He's got it. He's in the seat. But, like, when you're arguing who's second, like, Simone Biles is a good argument.
I would agree. Simone Biles. And
Joey Chestnut has it. He's got the chair. He's in it.
yeah, like, he has the Iron Throne. Just got to try to take the throne away from him. Watch the throne, Joey. Anyway, so yeah, I do appreciate, like, that people actually care about the Olympics enough to get upset. It bothers me when, like, I see people that, like, I'm like, you guys don't give a shit about the Olympics, and you're upset about something that you don't care about anyway. Like, I've noticed that, like, from, like, a lot of, like, people that I'm like, I don't think that. It's like, I'm pretty sure you don't care about the Olympics. Like, I don't see you constantly posting. Like, and yeah, celebrate our victories, mourn our losses, whatever. Not mourn, but it's this weird mindset that we're in. I do think that when the way that the PR came out initially, I do think that a lot of people were and are still confused about, like, they were like, oh, she just doesn't feel like it, because that's what a lot of people I saw, like, the sentiment was like, oh, she doesn't feel like it, which wasn't the case. She had a very goofy sounding twisties. All right, and horribly.
Well, so, like, was there? Here's. Sorry,
Go on.
you're still a little robotic.
I apologize.
I was going to ask you, was there that really? Because, like, here's the thing. One, I do keep a pretty liberal Facebook. I would say 80% liberal, 20% conservative. I didn't see much of anyone complaining about Simone Biles. I almost felt like the hatred towards Simone Biles was being made up a little bit. Like the only people I saw like talking shit about Simone Biles were people that were kind of well known for being idiots.
Oh yeah,
Like, I mean,
there was a lot of that. Um, I keep a pretty diverse Facebook intentionally. Um, for a long time, actually before I got sick with the mumps, um, I yeah, just the mumps this week. We'll keep it simple.
it's the moms, yeah.
Mumps. But anyway, before I got the mumps, and I actually never realized that I actually had an anxiety disorder. But it turns out, like when I was playing baseball, every now and then I would have an anxiety attack when I was like, particularly when I was batting.
Uh-huh.
And it may have been better for me to like just kind of like tell the teams like, hey guys, I'm not good to go today. But I mean, like you also like have this like, well, your team needs you, you need to step up. Um, but I would have anxiety attacks too, and I didn't know that I was having anxiety attacks. I had no idea. So I do think that having mental health in the spotlight is good just in general.
I agree.
And but yeah, like there was quite a bit of stuff on Facebook, Twitter of people saying like, okay, it's like, you know, um I didn't save anything. I should have saved some stuff for you.
But the
Then I
thing
could
is, like, if you're playing baseball or even basketball and like you have a mental breakdown and you suddenly can't play your game, like let's say your game gets cut 50% because of your mental health, like your ability gets cut 50% because of your mental health. Like you're going to lose a baseball game or a basketball game. In gymnastics, if you suddenly lose 50% of your ability, even if it's because of mental health, you're going to break your neck. Like you're going to
that
die.
that's true. There have been some very serious gymnastic injuries. Actually plenty sports injuries in general. Uh this is something that Kevin Love received a lot of criticism for initially before they realized that it was a anxiety attack that he had. He had an anxiety attack in the middle of a game, and that's back when he was still playing with LeBron and Isaiah Thompson
Mhm.
um, on Cleveland. He had an anxiety attack in the middle of the game, and he just left the game, and everybody's like, there was an injury, and he caught a lot of flack about that before they found out that it was anxiety related. And the thing is, people were still saying like, well, you need to step up for your team. You can't worry about yourself. And I kind of agree with that to some point. But at the same time, like if you're actively hurting your team, because we see players all of a sudden, like great players, just have these weird over games
Yeah.
where they can't hit anything basketball, baseball, like they're just making mistakes like crazy. And we don't know what's going on in their head. I don't want to say that something's happening that's not happening necessarily, but it could be something like that. I know that if I knew I had anxiety and was taught tools to deal with it, my baseball career would have been much better. So on that hand, yeah, but at the same time, like you want stone cold killers, like cold ice blood people to be in the top levels. You
Yeah.
and they're the ones that are gonna be there. So if they're the ones telling you they're not good, you kind of have to listen to them.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's very because it's easy to say, like, my liberal mind to say, like, well, mental health is the same as physical health. Uh, but like, I don't know. Like with Simone Biles, I think Simone Biles' mental health had a big impact on the chances of her physical health declining rapidly. With like her mental health could have caused something that could have killed her. So like this isn't necessarily about Simone Biles, but it is like part of being a high profile NBA star is being able to have all the pressure on you. There's 3 seconds left. You have to knock down these 2 free throws.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I really don't know like where to go with that
yeah,
because I do think mental health problems are a real sickness. Like I do think depression is something that like you have and you don't control and it happens to you. but then like I don't know. I feel like you have a little bit more control over mental health than physical health. Like
I
you can't outthink, you can't make a if you have cancer, if I have cancer, I have lung cancer, I can't decide not to die necessarily. Like, you know, like I
maybe
have
mind over
I
matter.
yeah,
The
maybe.
the
I don't
people with the
know.
positive outsets do better. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think that's fucked up too, because then it's like, because I hear people all the time like talk about like, oh, if you have cancer, you can't lose your fighting spirit. But like, then like, that's almost like telling someone whose dad died of cancer, like, dude, your dad gave up on you. And it's like, no, sometimes cancer just kills people.
Yeah, I that's like a bear attack thing. Like I agree with you, but I also think that like you have to tell people that like not giving up is because if you give up on yourself, like the game's over.
Yeah.
So it's
I,
one of those things where yeah, I think you're right a little bit, but that's not what they're saying specifically when they're saying like don't give up. Like they're not talking about your dad who died of cancer. They're talking about maybe their dad that survived cancer. Like
sure. I think it's just like, I think it's one of those things that has good intentions, but like when you really put it under the spot, like I really hate people telling kids they can do anything, they can be anything when they grow up. Like, and that sounds terrible. I'm a teacher, but like, because 95% of kids, when you tell them you can be anything when you grow up, that's telling most of my boys in my school that they can be NBA players or NFL players. And the thing is, it's just like, that's not true. Like, I mean, I used to like practice basketball 8 hours a day. Like, and I mean, not just like I'm going to go out and play 8 hours a day. It's like I would do shooting drills by myself. Like, and yes, I got really good at basketball, but like I never could have made the NBA. Like, there's not like you could have doubled my practice time. You could have tripled my practice time. At the end of the day, I am a 5'7" guy who was given subpar athletic, maybe a little above subpar athletic ability. Like, I wasn't going to make the NBA, period. And
yeah.
so, like, I think when you go with stuff like that, it's like, I do think, like, if you work hard and you put your mind to it, you can be successful no matter what
Yeah.
is true.
Well, it's talent over work. I think you need a little bit of both. Like you need to work. Like the most talented guy in the school, there were kids that I played with that were extremely talented baseball players, way more talented than me that just
Uh-huh.
didn't care. And I wonder where they would have been if they had my work ethic.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then like you had me work my ass off and I'm like, well, but maybe I'm just not that good.
I think work beats talent for sure, but I think work and talent obviously beats either one by itself.
Yeah.
It's like basketball, like as far as basketball went, I had a lot of work ethic. I did not have a lot of talent. So there were people who were more talented than me who I was better than. But then it's like when you get down to like this person's very talented and they work their ass off. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not born with one, you can't get one. But it is very sad when you see someone with talent just not work
Yeah.
hard at it.
I was playing at the Y and I told a kid, like, I was like, hey, AI, play some defense. And then he just took the whole thing as a compliment. He's like, that's right. He's like, I'm AI. And I was like, no, fucking get in front of somebody. I don't even care if they're on our team at this point.
It's very frustrating when you're making fun of someone, they don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a comic here that everyone calls the Prodigy, and they're kind of being a dick to him, and it's gone to his head, and it bums me out because I'm just like, dude, like, come on, man, you gotta.
Do I there's there was a lady. Um okay. I can't use the names, but anyway. There was a lady who another lady was just giving her good advice. She's like, but she was like saying like keep your nose out of other people's business, but she didn't say it like that. She's like, you don't need to make other people's problems your problems. You can just let them be. And then She was like almost like kind of doing it. I was like, and then so like the lady took the whole thing as a compliment. She's like, well, I do that just because I care so much. And then I was like, no, she's telling you to keep your shit. Like you're causing problems. Like,
Yeah.
and I wanted to tell her, I was like, no, she's telling you that you're causing issues. Like you're causing problems. She's just trying not to cause problems while she's telling you to stop causing problems. But yeah, it's just one of those things that like some people like, so it's a Dunning-Kruger effect. I think that's what it's called. Like they're too dumb to know that they're dumb.
I think there's some benefits to being dumb. Like going back to like sports, I think like if you're a field goal kicker and you have to nail this last goal to win the Super Bowl, I think you want a dumb kicker in there.
Oh yeah, that doesn't have like any of the weight of the world on him.
Yeah,
It's just like it's just a regular game to him.
Yeah, he's just like, I kick the ball, and that's all I do. And it's like, he's going to go kick the ball, and it's going to be just like normal, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think there are so many benefits to being dumb.
We're on the 50-yard line, so kick a little further this time. All right.
Did you see the tennis player who was criticizing Simone Biles?
No.
Oh, dude, it was my favorite thing. So, like, Simone Biles, the whole thing happens, and this tennis player, like, comes out, and I don't have the exact quote, but he said something that was basically like, unfortunately, part of being a high-level athlete is dealing with the pressure and getting over it and not letting the pressure, like, overcome you, and was criticizing her. And then his next tennis match in the Olympics, he, like, broke 3 rackets and, like, broke 1 racket and threw it into the stands and then, withdrew from his doubles match because he just had a mental breakdown. So
maybe he was right. It's like didn't have it. Also, like you shouldn't like once you break a rack, it becomes a weapon, and you threw that into the crowd.
Yeah, it was insane. It's my favorite thing. Like he was trying to like be like, look, I'm fucking awesome, and I don't let the pressure get to me. And it's like, dude, you just crumbled under pressure. You sack of shat. Like here's the thing, like being third in the world at a sport is amazing. If you're the third best tennis player in the world at a sport, that's really impressive.
If you're third best at anything and anything, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you're third best at tennis, you can't talk shit about the first best at gymnastics.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what he was doing. And it's like, fuck you, dude. I'm glad you had a mental breakdown. I hope he just never recovers.
Yeah.
That's not true. I hope
never plays again. Well, I am the first or second best at surviving on ECMO, but it would just feel mean to be like talking shit to other people that aren't as good. That'd be mean. Nah, scratch that. Anyway.
All right, we got 8 minutes. Do you have any comedy things, or I can bring up one more thing? It's not going to be super crazy. Well, it will be crazy, but it's not going to be super funny.
Okay. I'm going to link a GoFundMe to my very good friend, little baby Madison. I'm going to link that. Just a quick announcement so we don't lose time for that. And then what's your thing?
Oh, my thing was just going to be like, I feel like we should talk about COVID a little bit.
Oh, COVID is getting bad again.
Yeah, I know it's not the most fun thing to talk about on a news thing, but I would feel weird doing a news thing without like looking at what is happening with like, I mean, like hospitals are reaching 100% again. Shit's going down. I'm not going to be able to watch I'm not going to be able to go into my fucking like nephew's heart surgery probably because people won't wear a damn mask.
Yeah. So the thing, and I've said this in a bunch of interviews already, we have an opportunity as Americans to help each other out. And just wearing a mask, like I get that you have a right, you have your own autonomy, you have a right to not wear that mask, but you have a choice, and that choice should be to help and protect other people. If you're not worried about personally getting COVID, that's fine, but understand that if you get it, there's a very good possibility and a chance that you'll give it to other people.
Well, and I don't think a lot of people realize wearing a mask doesn't really protect you that much.
Not as much as I think that some people think, for sure, but it definitely helps.
But wearing a mask protects you from infecting other people if you have it. Like that's the point of wearing the mask. It's the point of wearing a mask is not to keep yourself from getting COVID. It's to keep yourself from giving other people COVID if you happen to have it already.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think people think wearing a mask makes them look like pussies, but it's like, that's not a fear thing for me. Like when I wear a mask, it's not like I'm scared I'm going to get COVID. It's if I happen to have COVID, I want to make sure I'm not giving it to other people. I want to protect these other people.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how many arguments I've been on online about it. And like I don't even tell them, like I was like, well, I can tell you at least one person that was young that got sick. But the side effects for the vaccine, although are serious and stuff to pay attention to, they're not they're the worst aren't as bad as actually getting COVID. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine shows very little side effects as well. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to keep ourselves safe, to keep our community safe, and we have an opportunity to help each other. And I don't know why we're not looking at it like that.
Yeah, it really kind of bummed me out about like America and Texas. And I really have a lot of American pride and a lot of Texas pride, which is weird coming from a liberal. I feel like most liberals kind of like have some shame, but I'm like, no, I think America is a great country, best country on earth. But it's like, it's hard for me to say that, seeing like a bunch of people decide, like, you know, like look at like World War II happened, and like overnight, like we were like, you know what, this used to build cars, fuck that, it builds tanks now. Like people said like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna eat less because like my country needs me to do this. And so no one came and said you're not allowed to eat this much anymore. It's not about freedom, it's about sacrifice and saying like, no, this is what my country needs to survive. This is what my country needs me to do. This is the sacrifice I'm making for my country so it can thrive. And they did it gladly. And like companies shut down factories and repurposed factories. And it's like, we haven't seen much of that. We haven't seen people willing to like sacrifice, not even like their well-being, but just like wearing a mask isn't that big of a fucking deal.
It's
Like,
really not.
Even if you don't think masks work, like going like, you know what? If someone told me like, hey, we didn't do the research, but there's a 10% chance that masks are going to stop the virus. If everyone wore a mask, there's a 10% chance the virus would stop. Then it's like, then we should all still wear masks. Even if it's just 10%, like that's not a big sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, I'm wearing a mask. Like there's benefits to it too. Like you forgot to brush your teeth, you put on a mask, no one fucking knows except you. Like I kind of miss mask.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah. And then, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's some bad parts. Like you think you're going on a date with Katana and it ends up being Melina. And there's a small select few group of people that are gonna get that joke. But yeah, I agree. Like it's an opportunity for us as Americans to kind of stick together. I don't know. That's like a problem that I have. Like I'm definitely a left leaning person, but I don't like labeling myself. I don't like labels. And I've talked about this before on the show. I don't understand the shame that we have as Americans right now. Like I understand that like America like has some very checkered history, but America also has like some very heroic history as well. Like I mean, like we own the good and the bad. Like that's all of us. So like yeah, like the bad things that happen, that's us. The good things that happen, that's us. And it at some point like it's ours whether we like it or not, and it's the only thing that we have. So I mean, like embrace it, love it, hate it, but you know, it's ours. And so it's weird when like people that reap the benefits, like I don't know, it bothers me. But then like this is something that we should probably spend more time on next time, but you actually have to leave here in a second.
Yeah, can we actually go back to your GoFundMe? You really went over that, but it's something that I know you care a lot about, and I was very touched by. So, like, I would like to end the episode talking a little bit more about that, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. A very good friend of mine, Madison, she's 2 years old. She got her lung transplant. She's also a double lung transplant, just like me. She lives in Nora's home, or she used to live in Nora's home. She just went back home. She has a new baby sister as well. So her mother, because she was sick, hasn't been able to work for this last year, and has to juggle 2 babies, work, stuff like that. So we got her to set up a GoFundMe, and we've been sharing that and stuff like that. Madison, and I'm gonna share the link in the description down below. Adorable little baby, very, very good friend of mine. She also might talk to ghosts, because she points at stuff that's not there all the time. Yeah.
So we don't want to get away. We don't want this gift. We gotta nurture this ghost talking gift.
Yes. And she likes elephants as well. I like elephants, so yeah, she's good people. And when I met her, she couldn't walk. Like she'd been sick her whole life. So, and now she's walking, so it's actually kind of cool seeing her walk and stuff like that. So she's very small for a 2-year-old. She's like the size of that Yoda, a little bigger than that Yoda. So yeah.
And so we're gonna put the GoFundMe link in the episode notes.
Yes.
The episode comments. I'll post it on my Facebook, Corey Evans. You've posted it several times already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't want, you seem to skip over that, and I know you're very you have a lot of emotions about that, and I didn't want to skip over that.
Thank you. Okay, and it is 6:01. You have to go teach people to be funny.
Do my best, yes.
The world's counting on you.
I know. All right, well, I'm Corey Evans.
And I'm Andrew Holiday.
Sorry for wasting your time.
Yes. All right. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.